Check, check. Hey, everybody, it's Maria Boynton. Thank you so much for joining me for another edition of Atlanta Up Close. I have to tell you today we're going to talk about history, women's sports, Atlanta, mother-daughter partnership. I have with me today Miriam Archibong, Esquire. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I am doing well. People say she just brings all her old friends on the show. Well, Miriam was one of my interns at CNN, and I have to say, lady, I am so proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
And y'all, this is what we're going to talk about today. So Miriam is a litigator and co-founder of the mother-daughter law firm with former Atlanta City Councilmember Natalyn Mosby Archibong, her mother. And she was recently part of the Atlanta promotion around the Claressa Shields, Kaye Scott fight. So what role did you play with the fight?
I negotiated the contract with State Farm Arena, but before that, I had to work with my clients who are the local promoter, who are the official local promoter for the fight. That's Byron Oglesby and Manu Jones. They represent Route 30 Promotions. And Byron had a relationship with Claressa's promoter and had the vision of bringing this fight to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. And at the time, we were his attorney. Or Route 30's attorney. And he talked to us about it, and we had to work together to get them to come to Atlanta because they were considering going to Las Vegas and Detroit. And so we had to come up with a strategy and negotiate a contract that was sweet enough to make them want to come to Atlanta. So our firm, an all-women firm, mother-daughter, negotiated the contract with State Farm Arena that allowed for this fight to come to Atlanta.
Oh, wow. So you and your mother, you're helping bring historic women's boxing to Atlanta. Why was this the right moment, you feel? Why was Atlanta the right city?
I think because Claressa is an incredible talent, and her brand is growing. And she's fought in Detroit twice. And it seemed like the perfect time to continue to try to support her elevation. And what better place to elevate that brand than to come to Atlanta?
Right.
And so we worked really, really hard to help them understand about how Atlanta is the busiest city in the world and how Atlanta is the place where dreams come true. And so it just seemed the perfect time to get Claressa and Kaye Scott to fight here.
So when you say that you are bringing women's sports or women's boxing to Atlanta, and everyone, we're talking to attorney Miriam Archibong, when you say you're bringing women's boxing to Atlanta, what do you believe you're actually bringing to the city beyond a sporting event?
You know, that's an excellent question. I think the most important thing is a belief that you can.
Okay.
The thing that's incredible about the Archibong firm, a woman firm in a male-dominated industry, negotiating that contract, being entrusted by all the parties to negotiate that contract, and then for women to be headlining this boxing event in a male-dominated sport, it speaks volumes about the possibilities and that anything is possible. And to have men kind of support that vision and elevate these women, because there was a male attorney on the other side, and they could have allowed him to lead. And they said, we're going to let you do it, Miriam. Mm-hmm. You got this. And I think that gives a sense of belief that you can. And seeing us and hearing from me and hearing from Claressa, knowing that anything is possible. Don't let anybody tell you that you cannot do something, because you can do anything you put your mind to. Amen.
So what does it mean to you personally to help create this moment in Atlanta sports history for women athletes?
So one of the things, so we didn't talk anything about my history, but you said my mom's a former Atlanta City Council person. And so I have kind of grown up in her shadow.
Right.
And I have always been about pioneering and charting my own course. And so my mom and I started this firm around August, July of last year. And she, at the time, because I was working in big law, at the time was representing Route 30. And so when we united forces and they talked about wanting to bring this fight here, she said, Miriam, you're running. I said, excuse me? What? Mm-hmm. And so she gave me that opportunity to kind of chart my own course. Now, we, of course, work together, but I talked directly to State Farm. Mm-hmm. I talked to the parties directly. I drafted and so it was a special moment for me because it allowed me to break out from being under her shield mm-hmm. or be under her shadow and kind of chart my own course and do my own thing. So
the Archibong firm, I mean, having a mother-daughter law firm, now you're working together on women's boxing. I mean, what is it like, Miriam, turning a family partnership into a force for sports and entertainment?
It's a beautiful thing. I think it is an extraordinary honor to be able to work alongside your parents. One of the things that I think about is what happens on your deathbed. And you think about, not I wish I had worked more. You think about, I wish I had spent more time with family. You think about, I wish I had traveled more, done whatever. And this was an opportunity to blend both, where I could work, but I get to work with my mom. I get to see her every day. I get to grow with her and keep her young. And so it was a beautiful opportunity, but also we intend to grow and have other young women and potentially men under our shield that we can develop and grow into excellent attorneys to be able to do whatever it is they put their mind to as well.
What did your mother teach you? I mean, about building something in Atlanta. I know she said you're leading this, but what did she teach you about building something in Atlanta that you're now bringing to this boxing effort? What did she teach you?
So my mom, she was on the Atlanta City Council since I was 12, and she was on there for 20 years. And she took me everywhere because she was a single parent mom, a full-time single parent mom. So that meant that she took me to school every day, picked me up, took me to debate competitions, but I had to go with her to city council meetings. She was also an attorney. I had to go with her to her clients. And so I learned so much by watching her. And it inspired me to want to do incredible things as well. And so just by watching her, just a strength that is unprecedented. You know, being able to raise a daughter on her own while doing all the things, working in $1 billion corporation, the city of Atlanta, and still being present and investing in me. And so I knew that I had a duty to do something great with my life. And I have been daily trying to figure out every day, what is that great thing? No, but it has been, watching her kind of inspired me to try to make sure that I make a difference some kind of way.
We all know you, Miriam Archibong. I mean, give us your history here in Atlanta.
Yeah, so I went to, so for the Grady High School alums, I went to Grady High School, and then I went on to Spelman College, was freshman and sophomore class president and also student body president. I was also student body president of my high school, was on Spelman's first championship winning team. Then I went on to Harvard University and got a master's in education policy and management. Then I came back to Atlanta, did Teach for America, taught here for 2 years. Then I did a Fulbright Research Fellowship in Singapore. Then I worked at the White House under the Obama administration, went to the University of Pennsylvania for law school, so double Ivy League. And then I clerked for a federal law judge and then ran my mom's campaign and then worked in big law for the last 8 years and have had an extraordinary career. But I will tell you, before Claressa Shields, my first major sports project that I worked on was the Mel Tucker case. Okay. I worked on that case when he was at Michigan State under investigation. I was at Jones Day and we represented the university. And so that was kind of my first foray or first introduction to sports. That was an unfortunate case, but...
Give us a little bit of what that was about.
So Mel Tucker was the highest paid football coach in the nation. He had a $90 million contract, and he had hired a woman to be the sexual assault awareness person for the football team. Well, some kind of way he got entangled with this woman to the degree where he thought that they were romantically involved. There was, I guess, a crossing of wires where she had reached out to him or she had posted something on social media saying, and all of this is public record, saying something along the lines of, I'm working out to look good naked. And he called her that evening around midnight or somewhere thereabout can we say this on air? Something happened on the phone. They were FaceTiming, and she was so, I guess, disturbed by what he had done on the phone that she then reported him to the school. But she told him that, you know, I think there was some conversation about a payment or something, and he said he wasn't going to pay her, so she reported him to the school. Well, you know, the Larry Nassar event happened there.
Yes. And
there was a moral turpitude clause in his contract, and because he was married at the time that he and he admitted to doing what the woman alleged he did on the phone, on FaceTime, and he got fired as a result. Now, it later came out that they did have some kind of relationship because he had sent her money, he was sending her gifts. There was a suggestion of some kind of relationship, some kind of consent, but nevertheless, he got fired because he had violated that moral turpitude clause. And seeing that and having the opportunity to be a part of the interview with him, it gave me a confidence. I don't care what room I'm in or who I'm being introduced to, I'm going to do an excellent job. And so when this opportunity to work on Claressa Shields' fight came about, it was like, oh yeah, we're going to get this. We're going to do a great job. And Atlanta's going to show out. And Atlanta is showing out. The fight is almost sold out. As I understand.
You know, with your history, your mom's history, Atlanta City Council, all of that, you being your mother's daughter, you now have the Archibong firm. Miriam, was there a moment when the two of you and your mother looked at each other and said, we can actually make this happen?
Yeah, it's funny. So my mom she was excited about us working together. We had talked about it for years. But we never really, I think there was a plan for me to kind of learn in Big Law, because Big Law is a great place to get a lot of good learning, because you get exposed to billion-dollar cases. You get to look at, and I'm a litigator, so you get to see how litigators strategize.
You were on the debate team, darling.
I was, yeah. I was also on the debate team in high school. And so, after doing 8 years in Big Law, it seemed ripe for the right time to unite forces. And so we had a conversation. Also, it's a grind in Big Law. When you are paid the amount that you are paid to be in those spaces, they own your life in some ways. We function in 6-minute increments. And so you start to look at everything in 6 minutes. And it's like, there's more to life than this. And having your own firm gives you a lot more control of the types of cases you work on. You get to have a bigger impact through having your own. And we get to, work on so many different types of cases. We do personal injury. We do family law. We do entertainment law. We do so many different things. And you get to help people and make a difference. And you get to look up and say, wow, I did that. Kind of like the Claressa Shields deal. When in the moment, it's kind of like, you're just kind of pushing through adrenaline. But then when you look up, you're like, wow, this happened. And it's here. And in 2 days, like, wow. And I think that's the other thing. People don't realize when you have big events like the Claressa Shields fight, there are people behind the scenes doing a whole lot of work. We've been working on this project for months. And again, it's an extraordinary honor to be able to support Claressa in what she's doing, because she is the talent. It's about her. And to be able to come in, again, as an all-woman firm in a male-dominated space and hold our own. And successfully navigate this space in a way that makes folks say, we want to work with you again. I mean, I think, it's a high honor.
Okay, here's a question for you. Who's most likely to do this? You or your mother? Who's most likely to say, let's take this to the next level?
Both of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are your mother's daughter.
Yeah, both of us. Yeah.
Everyone, we're talking to Miriam Archibong. Of course, I remember her. She was one of the young interns that I had back in CNN days. She's now a powerhouse here in our country. Miriam Archibong, with her mother, Natalyn Archibong, of course, founded the Archibong firm. How old is the firm now?
It is, right now, it's a year.
It's a year old. Congratulations to you. We're talking history, women's sports, Atlanta mother-daughter partnership. How do you divide responsibilities when you're working together, say on a project this ambitious? How do you divide that?
That's a good question. So because we're in our first year, my mom, because she is on the end of her career, if it's a really big thing, she'll push me forward, because she knows that I am the future of the firm. But we work very close. I mean, we are best friends. We are thickest. We are very close. And so even though I'm at the front, she's kind of like the wind beneath my wings. We bounce ideas off of each other. We literally work. She's in one room and I'm in the other. We might scream, hey, Mom, I'm calling you. Pick up your phone. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
And so it depends on how big the case is. It depends on, but even if I am the front of a case or she's the front, we work together, and it allows us to, she's been a lawyer my entire life. And so we have probably 50 years of experience. And so uniting those forces, and the thing interesting about my mom was that she's always been a solo practitioner. So she's always had to learn as she goes. Whereas I come in as a corporate attorney, coming in, so we're able to blend the things that we've learned over the years. So it's a beautiful thing. But most of the time, if it's a big deal, Miriam, you're doing it. And it's like, all right, here we are.
Has working alongside your mother changed your relationship with her?
No, she still thinks she's my mom. No, I'm still the daughter. And she will remind me of that periodically. Didn't I just tell you? And I'm like, wow, we're partners here. Hello, and so no, that doesn't change it at all.
Okay, everyone. Miriam Archibong is here. So glad to have her in here. You know, the city of Atlanta has a remarkable history, Miriam, and we don't have to tell you that, of Black women building institutions, businesses, political movements even. Do you see this boxing initiative as part of that tradition?
I do. And actually, that's our plan. We plan to have many more boxing events, major boxing events in Atlanta, because what better place to have them than Atlanta, the most busiest city in the world. And boxing is a sport like any other sport. Now, you know, people might think that soccer is better than this or tennis or whatever, but it's a sport nonetheless, just like cheerleading is a sport. And when you look at talent like Claressa Shields and you look at her life story and how she has come from nothing to something, and how she has the drive that she has, it needs to be a sport that's respected. Because when you look at how she trained to get to where, and how she's undefeated, and how she has gone up to anybody who said that they could beat her, and she beats them, and the level of training that goes into winning these fights. We're excited about bringing it here. The other thing is what you learn, the discipline you gain through sports and training. And so having young folks learn this kind of sport is something that we hope will change lives in a good way. And so, yes, that we are excited about the opportunity to bring more fights like this to Atlanta.
Okay, what does it mean to bring elite women's boxing into Atlanta, a city with such a powerful Black female leadership tradition?
I think the most powerful piece about it is the symbolism, the fight. Because we all have different fights that we have to fight daily. And seeing someone like a Claressa Shields headline, and Kaye Scott headline a major boxing event. They are not the, undercard. They are not the folks that you're going to watch in between. They are the main event.
Right.
And what that says, to younger women about what they can, and you don't have to be a boxer. What that says about what you can do in your own life. And how you should be the main event in your own life, and how you should fight for things that you want, how you should not give up, and how Claressa Shields went from being like a nobody, right, to being a somebody, and how she had to fight for that. That same is true in all of our lives, in whatever industry you're in, that you might be a nobody or somebody who's not recognized today, but you got to keep fighting and get to the top. And so I think that's one of the things that's most exciting about this fight and the work that we were able to do, is the inspiration that you can do anything you put your mind to. You just got to fight for it.
Do you think Atlanta understands the economic power of women's sports, and particularly the power of Black women athletes even?
No. I will say this about that. I do think that there is more recognition today for women's sports than it was back in the day.
Right.
But we still got a long way to go. I think the beautiful thing here are the partners we had in this fight. Salida Promotion, Dimitri Salida, Win Records, Ruben Branson, the CEO of Win Records. They believe in women. Win Records gave Claressa the biggest contract deal of any boxer or any female boxer. He gave her an $8 million contract. That's unheard of for a female athlete. And so I think the fact that you have men who have power, who are elevating women, and are supporting and giving them a platform to do their thing, I think is going to pave the way for other women to do. Because Claressa Shields is selling out arenas in Detroit and now Atlanta. So it's, I think it's showing that women can. Yes, we can.
Let's talk about the Detroit. She fought there twice, and then Atlanta. What did you do to convince them that Atlanta is the place for this fight?
Well, the biggest thing was getting them the deal they wanted at State Farm Arena, and that was an experience. Negotiating and getting the terms and getting of course we can't discuss the specifics of the contract,
right.
But that was the biggest piece. And then the other piece, because Detroit gave a good deal. They gave us a run for our money. But with all due respect, Detroit is not Atlanta. It's just not. And I can say that as somebody who formerly lived in Detroit for a brief period. Detroit is not Atlanta. I think it's on the rise. I think it's a good city. But Atlanta it elevates the brand. And I think it's exciting that they saw that. And I think it's exciting that it's on the heels of the FIFA World Cup. And I think that it's only just the beginning.
She's Miriam Archibong, everyone. She is a litigator, co-founder of a mother-daughter law firm with former Atlanta City Councilmember Natalyn Mosby Archibong, her mother. and she was recently part of the Atlanta promotion around the Claressa Shields Kaye Scott fight. So tell me, Miriam, what would you like, say, a young black girl in Atlanta to see when she walks into an arena and sees women headlining a major boxing event?
I think the thing that I want a young woman to take away from this is, I think something I said earlier, which is yes, she can.
Yeah.
In whatever industry she wants to go into. You want to be president of the United States, you can. You want to be CEO of a corporation, you can. You want to be a tennis star, you can. You want to be at Harvard University, you can. You want to, whatever it is you want to do, this is symbolic of what's possible. But you got to believe it, and most importantly, you got to fight for it. I think that's what I want a young woman to see.
And what is the history that you and your mother are trying to make?
I think the history we want, well, first of all, it's been made. Hello. No, hello. But I think the history that we want to make is what's possible when women lead. Mm-hmm. And I think it's been shown through how well this event is taking off. And also, I think the thing that's extraordinary about Claressa is that not only is she headlining it, but she paved the way for 5 other women or 5 other female bouts to happen on this undercard. And she also today created something called In Her Corner, where she recognized black women that are pioneers in their field. And she recognized incredible women, like Judge Asha Jackson and first African-American woman to be CEO of Fulton County, Mo Ivory. And so, Claressa Shields is not just about self. She's also about elevating other women. I think that's the other important thing is don't be a ball hog. Open doors for other people. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what this fight symbolizes. All of us are opening doors for other people. And so, yeah.
So what is this about? Is it about giving a woman or women a seat at the table or building a completely new table?
I think, in this case, I think we are working within the male structure.
Okay.
But I think if you want to build your own, you can. But I think here we are breaking barriers. That's for sure. Because again, they easily could have gone with another firm. They could have gone with a bigger firm. Mm-hmm. Instead, they went with the Archibong firm, this brand new mother-daughter, But I think they knew our brand. Because the beautiful thing here, though we started a year ago, our brand is strong. Across the board. And so they knew that if they came to us, it was going to be done and done well. And I think that is one of the nice things about the work that we've done and so quickly. And I'm excited about what's to come.
So much time flies, right? It flies when everything is going so well in an interview. And I'm so elated to have you in here. My question to you now, young lady, Miriam, your mother spent decades fighting for Atlanta in public service, and now the two of you are fighting quite literally for a place for women in one of America's most historically male-dominated sports. What does it mean to you to continue your mother's legacy in a completely different arena?
The fight continues. I think one thing about me is, and one thing about my family is we love Atlanta. Atlanta runs deep in our veins, and it doesn't matter what industry I'm in, I'm always going to be focused on elevating the Atlanta brand. And being raised by a public servant, I mean, literally almost my entire life, you understand the importance of being selfless and supporting and uplifting others. And that's what this was about. It's right now we're talking about the Archibong Fund, but it was less so about us and more so about getting Claressa where she needs to be for the next level of her career as she continues to rise. And it's an extraordinary honor to be able to support another woman who's trying to do something incredible in her life. And I think that's what we want the Archibong firm to be, one that elevates other people's brands and gets people where they need to be. And it's a high honor.
Politics in your future, perhaps? What do you think of that?
Of course, look, going to the restaurant that's eating my meat. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I grew up in a family of public servants. I was, like as I mentioned earlier, student body president of my high school and my college. I have always been someone who answers a call to serve. Is that in my future for today? Absolutely not. But is it going to be in my future tomorrow? Who knows? The jury's still out.
Miriam Archibong, indeed an honor and a pleasure to have you in. You're part now. You're with your mother, the Archibong firm. If people want more information about you, the firm, and what you do, what should they do?
Well, they can follow us on Instagram. So we are Archibong Firm on Instagram. It's spelled ARCHIBONGFIRM. And our website is the same, www.archibongfirm.com.
So honored to have you in here. So happy, so elated to see you, young lady.
Thank you.
So proud of you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Everyone, thank you for listening to yet another edition of Atlanta Up Close. And you, of course, you know you can listen always to on the Odyssey app. I'm Maria Boynton.